Hello, faithful friends. How's it going? I am here in the comfort of the clouds today doing my thing. Welcome to the show that helps you with the personal problems that really matter and no one else seems to be talking about. And of course, do drop online and get subscribed, comment, link, subscribe, and all that. If you're listening to this on YouTube, that'll really help my channel out. Heartbreak. We all experience it. People pretend they don't, but they do. We all do. It's mostly the result of a failed attempt at romance, but it can be from so much more than this. It doesn't just have to be breakups. In general, are painful, and there is no way around it. It's going to feel like the world is shook and nothing will ever be the same again. But let me tell you, it definitely will. What has happened here is a change in circumstances. Of course, if you want to know more about dealing with change, you can look back on last week's episode, sure. But likewise, last week's episode also dealt with loving yourself, and I think that's very important for this as well. So if you haven't seen last week's episodes, do go back and check those out. Those topics are very important for the message I'm giving today. In a breakup, there's two sides. Often there is the side who is breaking up and the other side who is being broken up with. The translation is one being hurt more than the other. But what if I told you that these things don't always correlate? You could be the one who gets dumped and feel way better about it than the person who was the dumpee. Not necessarily the case, and often not that way, but it could be that way, and it's important to recognize that however you're feeling, they could be feeling worse. If it's affecting you, you may not want to get out of bed. You may let yourself go. You may lack motivation and cry yourself into dry skin. We've all done it. We've all been there. Sadness, anger, anxiety, and all those questions, right? What if I just done this? What if I just said that? What if I'd misread some things? What if I told them this? But in reality, it doesn't make a difference. If someone breaks up with you, it's often for a range of reasons. And the most valuable bit of advice I can give you in this whole thing is that 8 times out of 10, it's because of an issue within themselves over an issue with you. It isn't something necessarily that you did at all. And while at first it will feel great that, it wasn't me and you can take that burden off your shoulders, it's still not ideal, because then we have to unpack the notion that we were kind of victimized, right? And we can't do that either. So we're taken out and dipped in their problems for a bit, pulled back out of it, and then we're experiencing it, used for their own means. And that's, in a way, worse. We've been used, maybe manipulated to try and help someone else's issues. And that isn't always, while at first you think, great, I didn't do anything wrong, it can cause further upset for you if you don't address it now. It used to bother me a lot, dealing with other people's baggage, having to prove myself more than others because of mistakes that other guys had made with the girls I was dating. But in time, I realized if I'm not good enough, if I'm not right, then I'm not going to work too hard to fix myself to be the right person for them, because it's clearly not meant to be. You can change and you can adapt and you can grow with somebody, but if you're changing yourself too much and you lose yourself along the way, that's a serious issue. So, how? How do we get over a breakup? Well, for starters, share all your problems. As the old saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. So make sure you're sharing your situation. This is a big thing to be bottling up. We shouldn't really bottle things up, however big or small, but let alone something that is this big. You must know what is appropriate to share and who it's appropriate to share with, though. And this is a big thing. A good friend who knows you really well, that you can trust, is the obvious one. But if not, then the other extreme also works. So a total stranger in a bar or a bus stop or someone you've never met before, don't go up to them and just start crying, because, it's all about, you can make small talk, and no one says small talk can't be personal. In some ways it's better because they have no context, they don't know the other person, unlikely they do anyway, you can't guarantee it, but it has happened. But you don't limit yourself to just talking to people that, are immediately in your circle. Because people who don't know you, strangers, often will give you the best advice. And even if it's just a throwaway comment, it makes you realize how insignificant the grand scheme of things really is. Another thing you can do to get over a breakup is make a good old playlist. Or update the last one, right? That new song by, Billie Eilish, Sam Smith, Tom Elgie. Really, whatever fits. If you listen to a song, you think this really fits my view on what's happening to me right now, cue it up, pump it up, and lap it up. Music is a great healer. If you write music, write some songs about it. You have no idea how many albums I've written based on things like this as a fundamental thing. Make sure you're doing that. And make some plans. Get out the house. Obviously, there's a pandemic on at the minute. You can't get out the house, right? But you can make plans. And if you're stuck in the house, play some video games, talk to people online, meet friends online. The internet is a beautiful thing, and if you're careful, it can make friendships that still get you through things like this. In fact, they're kind of made for it. It may be someone you only play Fortnite with once a week, You've never met the person in person. You don't even know what they look like. It might just be that they're the perfect person to get you through this. Because again, it kind of brings in, it's kind of the halfway house between that close friend that you can kind of trust and that someone you've never met before. So it kind of gives the best of both worlds to that. If you're not in lockdown, I'm really dating the recording of this video, didn't I? If you're not in lockdown, you can go to the cinema, you can go to the sports hall, the gym, wherever you like. You know why? Because you broke up with someone, that means you do not have to report to anyone anymore. I mean, with respect to partners too, it's natural you want to respect your partner and keep them in the loop and make sure they're okay with things. That's fair. But that's for another video. But you don't have to worry about it right now. Because you're recently single, you've just been through a breakup, and you can make all the plans in the world, and no one has the right to bat an eyelid. And if they do, well then, there's obviously some more baggage left to unpack there. Short-term dating apps, and I mean this only in the short term. Do not see this as a long-term fix to this problem. Get out there, get some confidence, interact with other people, and while the knockbacks will push you back in many ways, a few good encounters will help build you back up. And I wouldn't do it seriously. Just a bit of a pick me up and then delete it after a week or two. You're not ready to start dating again yet. But please, 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 don't lead anybody on. Don't ghost people. You can even explain your situation. There's a lot of people in a similar boat. The number of people that I've spoken to on dating apps before and they've said, I'm just here to, get chatting again. I'm trying to move on. That's great. If you're open about it, there's nothing wrong. If you start leading people on or you get into a relationship and then you rebound with them, then it gets messy. And then we go back to, you become the person giving baggage that wasn't even yours to someone else, and it just gets a complete mess. So please, please, please don't do that. It's essential when recovering from a breakup, and I don't care if it's been 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months. You take the time that you need to be yourself, and more importantly, love yourself. Check out that video. Now, I need to ask you something before we go any further, because we could do this all day. But I need to get to the bottom of something first. Do you want your ex back? Just take a minute, think about it. Sincerely, deep down. I need you to be, as always, I need you to be honest with yourself in the answer. If you plan to get back with your ex, then I'm afraid this may not be the topic for you, and we'll do a video on this later on. Check this space. So if that's your goal, I feel like you're going to be a much longer topic in itself, and I can't cover that in a short piece here. But if you're genuinely wanting to move on from a relationship, you need to stop texting your ex. This is a big one, and it's not just texting, calling. I get it, you might work with them, you might see them, that's fine. You have to keep it civil for that, but that's the only time, and it makes it harder. It does slow down the process. I'm not going to lie, I've done that myself before, but it doesn't have to be like that. And you may get some pushback. They may think it's silly that you can't just go back to being friends, and maybe it's that because they're not entirely over you, that they're trying to get there. So maybe giving it some time apart will benefit you both in this way, or will lead to the other option, which I will touch on in another video. Another way to get over a breakup is to acknowledge that you need time to move on. Don't force it. You need to feel the emotions. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot, in fact, and you don't want to suppress. You need to experience that emotion. In suppression, you're not experiencing pain. And if you're not experiencing the pain, you'll never overcome it. Do you have a room in your house, or even the whole house in some cases, or a flat, or it might be a part of you, it might be part of your room that you have that a person helped you decorate, move around, picked out some new furniture for, maybe they loved what you did with the place. And now every time you see the room, you're reminded of them and it sparks the memories again. Because that's the bit we want out. Experience the pain. But until that pain has passed, you need to avoid memories that trigger the pain. And avoiding memories and avoiding triggers, you need to clear yourself of it. But Tom, they helped me rearrange my bedroom. Okay then, move it around, put it back, do a new design, do something new, get creative. Turn the bed around, swap cables, move the TV, do something that will give your room a fresh look. Or your house, or whatever it is, or your office space, whatever it is. It could be the kitchen, whatever it is, if you've been married, obviously. If you'll be... In that, you'll be giving a fresh outlook and a fresh look. In a fresh look, you get a fresh outlook. See? It's even hard to say. Purge the memories drawer as well. Those Valentine's Day cards, those cinema tickets, they're all triggers for memories. There are people that keep cards, I do keep my Valentine's Day card, so I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here, but I know most people aren't as sentimental as I am. But if you're holding stuff back and it's only because you're holding out hope or whatever, you need to think, am I keeping this for, nostalgia and sentimental value, or am I keeping this for the sake of something more? So you need to realize that getting over a relationship means letting go. I moved in with my sister after my first ever breakup a few years ago when I was 19. Her and her boyfriend, and my ex that I'd been together 2 years, and we'd just split up, and I still had all her cards and all of her stuff that she got me and like little bits and pieces. When we were unpacking my room, because she was helping me sort out my room, my sister asked me why I kept them, and I failed to come up with a really good answer. I honestly had no idea why I was holding on to this stuff beyond the fact it was like a trinket, I guess. But she said, she told me something that I want to give to you now as well, and this is full credit to my sister. She said, you don't owe her anything. And this is true. We do not owe our exes anything. Obviously, if they buy you something expensive or cool or useful that has a purpose beyond just that, then go for it. If you don't force it. If you can't think why you have it and it makes you feel anything other than joy or has of use to it, bin it. Or, recycle it, in some way. Charity shops, it doesn't have to be bins, obviously, eco-friendly. But, that's just the easiest thing to do. So now we've hit a roadblock. And that roadblock is blocking. Blocking them. Should you do it? If you do it, you look immature. Like you don't have the maturity to deal with the present situation. However, saying that, cutting people out for the sake of growth and giving yourself distance is exactly what you need to do. So what's right and what's wrong? Well, what feels right to you? If you think it will generally help, it may be a good idea to put that aside. And if it's a bit immature to some people, so what, right? You need to put your own feelings first, because that's what they've done. When they broke up with you, they weren't thinking about how you felt. Even in the nicest situations, I can tell you that, because if they really cared how you felt and you were happy with it, it wouldn't have happened, right? I'm not saying that they should. They did the right thing, but you need to do the right thing too. That being said, don't talk rubbish about them too much. You know what I mean? Don't say, this is a vicious trap that will lead to a lot of drama and a lot of sense. And in a lot of senses, it will cause a lot of stress. If you're talking about them all the time, be it good or bad things, and you're having a rant or venting with your girls or boys, and you're getting over them, and you ain't getting over them. You're just venting it out, which means that you're letting them come into your mind a lot, which means you're not giving yourself space, and you're not dealing with it. You're just constantly bringing it up and reliving it. Let it go. Focus on healing, not attacking. Should you be friends with them? Often, straight after, you'll be like, it's okay, let's be friends. Well, straight away, that's going to be difficult to maintain. I will cover this in more depth at a later point. Shortly. Go outside. Go to the supermarket. Go to the garden. Just get out there and breathe some fresh air. Soak up the nature, clear your head, and allow yourself to embrace the wind in your face. But basically, when it comes to being friends with somebody, you need to really work for that. And sometimes it might mean that you need to cut them out for a bit to get them back again. Again, more on that later. Get into a routine. We all do it. We get in a new relationship. We feel like we need to be on it and we need to devote to some time to this person. And before you know it, sleep patterns have become messy. Diets are all but a sham. Mornings are different. You don't want life to be overly structured. So it's boring, but having a routine is a great way to get yourself back on track. Because literally putting yourself into a norm, you establish the norm, you're resetting the board to a state where you were before again, or, even better. But, find something and approach it with a clear head to have a better outcome the next time. You're giving yourself, you're stepping back, you're assessing, you're wiping the slate clean, and then you're moving forward in another direction, which is the only way that we can progress. Sometimes you've got to go backwards to go forward. Get yourself back, not them. If you want them back or not, this is the same, in fact. If you don't want them back, well, by moving and getting on with your life, you're getting yourself back, and that's a good pace to being happy single, and then you don't want them back, and nothing is, and then it's fine. If you do want them back, nothing is going to be more attractive and going to reinstate that person's interest in you than loving yourself and being your best. And I have a topic on this, again, coming up in the near future. We've got a lot of topics to cover. And finally, stop blaming yourself for this. This wasn't all you. It couldn't possibly be all you, right? You did what you had to do and you made your best effort in life, and maybe you made some mistakes, but that's part of it. And live life in the present and give it 100%, and then there's nothing to regret. If you enjoyed something, my mum used to say this, if you enjoyed something, then it was never a waste of time. If only, that's our favourite words, right? If only this had been better, right? If only I'd done this, or if only I'd done that, or not said this, or wore this shirt, or played this song, or asked this question. It takes two, okay? You're not 100% responsible. Admit it's partially your fault, because, you can't just wipe it completely clean, but don't beat yourself up especially. And normally it's about a 70-30 split between people, and we need to work out who that is. Can be different. If they're the one that broke up with you, we'll cover that, because you can't beat yourself up. You can't beat yourself up if they broke up with you. If you broke up with them, maybe a little bit. I am, for this particular topic, out of time. Thank you as always for joining me on this topic. Check out my YouTube channel for more uploads coming soon and more topics. Comment in some topics of your own and I'll get thinking about them. Until next time, thank you. Be kind, be good, and get over that breakup. It's going to be alright.